What if I told you there was a book that was once lost to history? A book filled with stories of fallen angels, hidden realms, and secrets from heaven passed down to mankind from the stars above. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into the Book of Enoch, the ancient text that captivated scholars and truth seekers for centuries. Why was this book banned from the Bible? What secrets does it reveal? The mysteries of the forbidden knowledge of the heavens. Let's begin.
The Book of Enoch was purposefully kept out of the Bible, but why? It chronicles Enoch's experience while walking with God. Enoch was shown what hell looks like and described in detail the type of people that he saw there. The book also describes the 200 fallen angels and how they influenced our world.
The Book of Enoch explains something shocking. In the Book of Enoch, Enoch doesn't just see one heaven, he sees a total of 10 heavens. These heavens are often depicted as layers or levels, with each level having its own purpose or inhabitants. Here is a general overview. The first heaven is the closest heaven to Earth, and is where the clouds, wind, and other meteorological phenomena are believed to originate. The second heaven is described as the realm where the celestial bodies, such as the sun, moon, and stars, are situated and move in their courses. The third heaven is perhaps the most popular depiction of heaven, a place of paradise and inconceivable beauty and peace. The fourth heaven is where the sun and moon are placed when they are not visible in the sky. The fifth heaven is associated with various celestial beings, such as angels, who praise and glorify God. The sixth heaven, in some interpretations, is where the 7 archangels reside, each overseeing different aspects of the cosmos. Seventh heaven is where divine mysteries are revealed. The 8th, 9th, and 10th heavens are the highest heavens, with the 10th heaven having God's throne. It's important to note that the Book of Enoch exists in several versions and translations, and interpretations of its contents can vary widely. The idea of 10 heavens and their specific characteristics is not universally accepted among scholars and religious traditions. However, single-handedly is the reason why the Watchers turned against God in the first place, similar to Lucifer. Samyaza simply wanted to do whatever he pleased. Azazel is arguably the worst out of the Watchers right after Samyaza, because he taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. These are usually revered as the 2 leaders of the Watchers. However, there are a total of 200 of these angels. The leader of the 200 Watchers taught enchantments and root cuttings, while Armoros taught them how to resolve enchantments. Barakijal taught astrology, while Kokabel shared information on the constellations. Ezekiel shared the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel instructed on the signs of the earth.
The Book of Enoch revealed some troubling secrets about exactly who will go to hell. 2 Enoch even tells us exactly what hell looks like. Enoch was taken to each dimension of heaven, and there are a total of 10 levels to heaven, but we'll only be speaking about the first 3 for this video. The first heaven is located directly above the firmament, the second being a prison for the angels, and the third heaven is a paradise for the righteous. However, there is a much darker side to this heaven as well, for the unrighteous. Located in the northern region of this heaven, Enoch seen all kinds of torment. In Enoch's own words, there is no light there, and a black fire blazes up perpetually, with a river of fire that comes out over the whole place, fire here, freezing ice there, and it dries up and it freezes. Also, there are evil angels in this place tormenting humans. The angels that took Enoch through these levels of heaven told Enoch who these people who will go to hell are. They told him, "This place, Enoch, has been prepared for those who do not glorify God, who practice on the earth the sin, which is against nature, of witchcraft, enchantments, divinations, trafficking with demons, who boast about their evil deeds, stealing, lying, insulting, coveting, resentment, fornication, unaliving people, and who steal the souls of men secretly, seizing the poor by the throat, taking away their possessions, enriching themselves from the possessions of others, defrauding them, who, when they are able to provide sustenance, bring about the death of the hungry by starvation, and, when they are able to provide clothing, take away the last garment of the naked, who do not acknowledge their Creator, but bow down to idols which have no souls, which can neither see nor hear, vain gods, constructing images, and bowing down to vile things made by hands. For all these, this place has been prepared as an eternal reward.
I've studied the Book of Enoch, and a lot of these AI-generated TikToks do read from the actual scriptures spoken of in Enoch. I have another channel called Revelations Unveiled, and it's a no-face channel that focuses on the Book of Enoch.
The Book of Enoch warned us about these creatures. The book explains hybrid entities that were created by fallen angels. Some of these beings were half human and half angel, whilst others were half human and half animal. The human-angel hybrid creatures were giants that were extremely hostile towards humans. Perhaps this is where the stories of demigods originated. The animal-human hybrids were not only hostile towards humans, but many believe they are still here today. Mysterious reports of cryptid creatures are being made all around the world. Beings that appear to be animal-human hybrids continue to roam in our woods and forest. People claim these entities are demonic in nature, due to them being the cause of many disappearances of animals or even humans. Not only that, but hunters even attempted to eliminate these cryptids due to them being a huge problem in their communities, and the creatures were allegedly unfazed from the shots. This sparked the possibility of these entities actually being demons, or something of a supernatural nature. Did these abominations survive the flood after all? Did the Book of Enoch mention these extraterrestrials that the ancient Sumerians encountered? In the Book of Enoch, we're told about infamous figures known as the Watchers that roamed the earth, genetically modifying animals and humans to create disturbing crossbreeds. But what if I told you this wasn't the first story where this happened? Ancient Sumerian tablet speaks of a group of extraterrestrials known as the Anunnaki that came down and did the very same thing, manipulating human DNA and creating hybrid beings. The more compelling part of this comparison is that the Anunnaki actually look identical to biblical angels. Some of the Anunnaki look like cherubim angels, while others look like the Watchers from the Book of Enoch. The cherubim are a mixture between multiple animals, a human, and an angel. When we look at some illustrations of the Anunnaki, we also see hybrid-looking angelic creatures. The Watchers in the Book of Enoch are described as being giant angels but also human-looking, and we can see this in the many depictions of the Anunnaki, that they are giant humanoid creatures with angel wings. However, many refer to the Anunnaki as extraterrestrials from a planet known as Nibiru. Are these the same stories, just rewritten by different cultures?
The Bible says, the Old Testament, New Testament, which is pretty powerful. I know people misinterpret it all, but it's ancient text. The people are there. Like you read Ezekiel, like 3 burning wheels land.
Yeah.
There's a blue firmament over its head. It gives me something to take. I take it, and I'm given the full data of the plan that the genetics has been infested, and God must destroy everyone.
Do you think that's an alien story?
Oh, it's 100%. But
That's what they always talk about. They always talk about that being an alien story. That's one of the primary stories when they talk about the Bible, Ezekiel's vision, a wheel within a wheel. They always
So
talk
if you
about
read
that.
it,
Yeah.
it says floating off the ground in the Hebrew.
Yeah.
And the King James is pretty clear too. Floating comes a thing with a crystal firmament over its head. And then the face is shifting different creatures. It's like a video screen.
Well, if you think about how long it would take for an alien to get here, it really only makes sense that unless they have a constant base
They
here,
send a robot.
they visit, or if they came by themselves.
Beings. In the Book of Enoch, if you want to know the angels that sinned that he's talking about, they somehow developed a lust for human beings. Where does that come from? What angels that sinned? How do angels sin? These entire but it's like little blips, because it seemed as though when this angelic DNA and human DNA got together, it created these literal abominations, things that weren't supposed to be here.
Especially the Book of Watchers. And what it really is it's an expose, it's an expounding upon Genesis 6. It fills in the story. Because Genesis 6 is 4 verses, right? And so what does this mean? What happened? And this is what happened. It names players. It names villains. It talks about the things that these fallen angels did, and they taught humanity.
But those concepts are only found, like, you know, in the Book of Enoch. And so you can just glaze over it and be like, oh, we're not gonna talk about that in 1 Peter. We're not gonna talk about what Jude said. I think it's easier to kind of just go to the main points that most churches like to talk about.
In the Book of Enoch, when he said he went to the middle of the earth, did you know that you can go there on Google Earth? If you type in the lowest elevation on Earth, which is the Dead Sea, and go right there to the Dead Sea, which is called the Jordan Valley Rift, because that's where a big earthquake ripped the earth open. That river filled in all of that and made the Dead Sea. And if you go down where the angels were talking to Enoch, and they wrote everything down for him, that's right where we found the Dead Sea Scrolls 2,000 years later. You can click on those little picture bubbles and see the caves that were sealed up for 2,000 years. Book of Enoch, chapter 7, verse 42. And I went thence to the middle of the earth. The Dead Sea is the earth's lowest point right there, and it's also the world's deepest salt lake. That's like 1,400 feet below sea level. It says right here in verse 61 that Uriel showed him all around and then wrote everything down for him in this next verse right here. At the beginning of chapter 7 in the Book of Enoch, it tells you that Uriel is a holy angel that is over the world and over Tartarus. This valley with those caves up there, that's what AI thinks Tartarus looks like. And this is the cave that they found the Book of Enoch in. Genesis, Enoch, Exodus, and the Book of Jubilees were the most prominent scrolls found. Book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 9. And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end.
Chaos. There's literally women giving birth to giants because of angels. But my question is, what did they even do here on Earth? There's this thing called the Dead Sea Scrolls. They found this in a cave. This thing is 2,000 years old. On one of these pages, it really focuses on the fallen angels. And this blows my mind every single time. Because this is called, no joke, the Book of Giants. In this book, it talks about how the angels bring both knowledge and havoc. The angels exploit the fruitfulness of the earth. Now, when I hear this, I think they were building empires. I mean, could you imagine a city built by angels? But that's not even the most interesting thing, because there is this one sentence. It talks about the angels taking 200 animals from all species and genetically modifying them. I'm not kidding. In other words, it says right here, from every animal, from every bird, for miscegenation. Miscegenation means crossbreeding. It's genetics. It's the highest form of science, and it kind of makes sense, actually. The angels were making their own creations. They were playing God. And that just begs one question. What would a fallen angel ever want to make?
Nothing is new under the sun. The fallen ones, crossbreeded and did experiments. And those same entities, principalities, who are possessing these wicked men in the higher ups, in the governments, in political, stadiums, in the churches, in the music industry, in Hollywood.
Do you still think these giant craters are caused by asteroids? Aw, that's sweet. Well, if you don't want that fantasy ruined for you, I wouldn't keep watching. Let's start by looking how many of these craters have been found. And the Google machine says 190, but I've seen up to 195, which is awfully close to the number 200. 200 that just happens to be the exact same number of the fallen angels or watchers that were banished down to Earth for committing sins with human women. And then what if I also told you there's a pyramid in the middle of a crazy city where at the very top of it was a chamber where they had 200 perfectly aligned, beautiful seats. 200 exactly. And then I told you that the town name that pyramid's in just happens to be an anagram of the word Satan. Also has a light in it that looks very, very familiar. So familiar that I knew I had seen it somewhere before. We know what that is. That's the Olympic torch. And if you've seen my Chicago or New York videos, you know who that really is, holding that torch. The head of the fallen angels, Lucifer, the light bearer. The light bearer who not only puts his light in plain sight, but puts his home at the head of a phoenix. And we just know how Hollywood loves to tell us the truth right in their movies.
We were not stoned, but lied. It was not our birds we would fear. Yet we chose to try and help mankind. And when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were encrusted by the one. Rock and mud shackled our fiery glow.
Maybe, just maybe, there are some fallen angels here, and they're trying to deceive us to get revenge on God, trying to make us think there is no God, and that we just came on an accident, random Big Bang, and that we evolved from monkeys, and that we live on just one of infinite spinning balls. But I know the truth. You know, they're not even possible the way they tell us, because I've researched. And if you still think these are caused from asteroids from outer space, then my friend, you have a lot of research to do. My hope for you is that one day you get fire up your butt so bad that you will stop at nothing, and I mean nothing, until you find the truth about this place you live. Because it's there, and this sure as hell isn't it. But as always, I was just here for your entertainment purposes. I don't believe any of this I said. All this was just joking opinion. Yeah, of course space rocks hit this. Found at Did you see this behemoth that I found at Deception Island near Antarctica? With its mouth and nose and eyes? Well, guess what? I found another. And the beautiful thing is you can go to Google Earth and you can go find this exact spot all on your own. But check this out. I think there's multiple reasons for the Antarctica Treaty. I think one is it's the edge of our known world, the ice wall that holds in all the water, because water has to be flat and level. And it wasn't that. It's this. It's in all the water, and I think there are a whole bunch of petrified ancient titans there. I mean, look at this guy. Just look. Mouth, nose, you see it. You know you do. And when you see them side by side, it's pretty difficult not to realize that there are faces here. I know there were giants here. Do you know there were giants here? Do your friends and family know there were giants here? Because knowing there were giants here helps take the veil off of all the lies we've been told our whole lives. But of course, this was for entertainment purposes. I know that's just pareidolia. Duh. Entertainment only.
Right, let's get this straight right now, right? Why has nobody told me that this thing right here is real? Explain that to me. And it doesn't stop there. No, here's another one. Look at that. Clearly a woman. Don't even know. How is that thing? Explain that. It's not a natural form. And then here's another one. Just a guy, dude, sat there. Little penguin for you. Then a little bird kissing another bigger bird. Some sort of goat. Not quite sure. Defo a snake. There's two snakes on top of each other. Then I've no idea what that is, but if they're not teeth, I don't know what are. Defo a little dinosaur. And then a hand. What is this young people? I mean, check this out, right? Just look at this for a second, and you tell me what this could be. I'm not sure about that one. Looks sus. It's a bit sus too. That's defo a person, that though. Not even bothered. When did this become a thing?
You guys have seen a tree stump rot from the inside out, right? Looks just about like that. And here, southwestern United States, different parts of the world, looks like clean cuts on these giant trees. You might say, well, how could that possibly happen? Like, somebody would have to be gigantic and have huge equipment to make those kind of cuts, right? Those look like tree stumps. That looks like a clean cut at an angle. Another one like Devil's Postpile. Book of Enoch talks about titans that were 3,000 ells in height. And an ell actually is equivalent to 11,250 feet. It's like 45 inches is one ell. Well, that's an 11,250 foot tall titan. And someone that big, theoretically, could cut down a giant tree. And many ancient cultures believed in the tree of life, which was located in the center of the world. Norse mythology, Mesoamerican, Mesopotamian, Hindu, Siberian, Central Asian, and biblical tradition all talk about the tree of life. And I believe this is real. Maybe next time we can talk about the 13 skulls and the Anunnaki who came to Earth to mine the Mariana Trench. Engineered DNA to create a race of slaves called humans to help them mine for gold.
Because what's going on here, according to the Book of Enoch, which is one of the apocryphal books left out of the Bible, but he's important because he's mentioned in the Bible. These beings came from heaven to earth and then taught human beings how to do technology, how to make weapons, make beer, and all this other crazy stuff. And then they took Enoch on a trip to the Earth's atmosphere and beyond, and he saw the Earth and the shape of the planet and then brought him back. The only Bible that has the Book of Enoch in it is the Ethiopian Bible. The rest of the biblical Bibles omitted the Book of Enoch. The wars of these gods can be found in the Book of Deuteronomy. These are the Atlantean wars that everybody's trying to figure out what happened. It's in the Book of Deuteronomy in the Bible. You have God, which is actually gods, plural, going to war against other gods in other towns and cities and other regions of the planet and sending human beings to these places to go to battle, sending angels with them with battle gear on to fight and kill, and that's all in the Book of Enoch.
Mermaids are real, but they're evil. According to the Book of Enoch, mermaids are the cursed mothers of the Nephilim. In short, mermaids created demons as we know them today. Demons are simply the spirits of the Nephilim giants. So God turned these particular women into creatures that forever roam the sea.
To be as white as Noah actually had a very interesting appearance. See, the Book of Enoch explained his hair and body to be as white as snow. It even says that his eyes were as bright as the sun. But these are all signs that Noah could have been albino. Now, the Bible says that his ark landed somewhere in the mountains of Ararat, which is very interesting because in those very same mountains, people end up finding this ancient boat-like structure with the exact same dimensions as Noah's Ark in the Bible. Now, Moses was actually a very rich kid. He actually grew up in an Egyptian palace before he literally killed somebody. What's really strange is that somehow Moses was still kind of insecure. Even though he is known as one of the greatest leaders in history, Moses almost gave it all up just because he had problems with his speech. It also seems like Moses might have actually had 2 wives. See, the Bible says that Moses married a woman named Zipporah, but then the Book of Numbers talks about this completely different Cushite woman. See, the Bible doesn't really explain who she is or what the circumstances were at all. So even today, this woman's identity is a complete mystery.
If anyone knows who this woman is, please let me know. All right, let's get it.
Everybody thinks that there's some. What is the main reason for the 33rd degree Masons? The main reason is not to, everybody thinks that there's some kind of crazy thing. It's actually space travel. 33rd degree Masons is about space travel. That's the ultimate goal because Masonry goes all the way back to the Chateau coming out of the land of Chem, the brick Masons that had the secret knowledge that was then lost in the mystery schools. It's all about reobtaining the capability of traveling in space. Why do I say that? Because you have to travel 33 times the speed of sound to escape Earth's gravity to get into space. If you travel 32, 31, 30, you're not going to escape. There's no escape velocity. You have to travel 33 times the speed of sound to escape into space. That's why the runway in Florida at the Space Coast is runway number 33.
The angels had to be punished somehow because the results were devastating. I mean, after all, there are giants in the sky. They were these towering beings of endless desire for destruction and chaos. The Bible even says they were the rulers of the ancient world. Now, mind you, these guys were everywhere. They conquered and built kingdoms the likes of which we just can't comprehend. These were entire civilizations built on divine secrets. You gotta understand that at the start, the angels were just free to roam the earth. And they must have been really good friends with humanity, because they're the ones that end up teaching humans how to do magic. And not only magic, they're the ones who teach humans how to make weapons. Enoch says how astrology, crystals, and even makeup are all teachings from fallen angels. So not only did they corrupt all flesh on earth, they actually altered the appearance of earth itself. The earth would forever be littered with the image of fallen angels portrayed as gods. Their punishment was to be locked up in chains and in darkness until the day of judgment. Some of them being bound under the great river Euphrates, which conveniently is drying up.
Scriptures, the Book of Enoch was taken out of the Bible in the 4th century. And although many people believe that it was taken out because it wasn't accurate to the original scriptures, others speculate that it might have actually been taken out because it talks about a history of humanity that's not currently accepted. In the book, it talks about how there was a group of angels known as watchers that began stepping out of line a little bit. They began teaching humans things that humans weren't meant to know at that time, like makeup, astrology, and how to create weapons. Furthermore, these angels began to lay with human women, and as a result, giants, also known as Nephilim, were born. The book gives an entirely different account of human history. It talks about things like why the sun, stars, and moon move the way that they do, the shape of our world, and even where the watcher angels are currently.
To ancient Sumerian. What's so crazy about the Book of Enoch is that even though it is a hidden book of the Bible, it also correlates to ancient Sumerian texts, and Enoch was also said to be in ancient Samaria the first priest. Welcome back to another episode of That's Insane with Aja, where I talk about the Book of Enoch, Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as ancient apocryphal texts and hidden books of the Bible. Today I'm going to be telling you about how Enoch was in ancient Sumerian text, as well as different parts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, even though that this book was taken from the Bible long before it. Now, first, someone might ask, who was Enoch? Enoch actually was the leader of the archangels. He was said to have walked with God, and he is the author of all 3 books of Enoch that tell his descents across the celestial heavens and this mission that was sent to him by God. Now, these 3 books that were taken out of the Bible recount how Enoch was taken up to the heaven and was appointed guardian of the celestial treasures, chief of the archangels, and the immediate attendant on the throne of God. He was subsequently taught all secrets and mysteries, and with all the angels at his back, fulfills his own according to whatever the mouth of God says. He lived 365 years and was taken when God took him up to heaven as he walked with God. It basically means he entered heaven alive. Now, the first book of Enoch is where we meet the fallen angels who mate with humans and create the Nephilim, and they create sirens, and they mate with 200 different species of animals on earth and teach women makeup and give war to men, and they basically corrupt mankind. And we see Enoch go on this mission to trap the angels under the Euphrates River and do things that God tells him to do, even before Noah built his ark, because Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah. And he asked God to save his bloodline, which would be Noah, and this is why Noah was able to build the ark and got the information from God. The thing about the Book of Enoch was that it was found in multiple different places on scribes and even in cuneiform script. It was found in the Qumran caves, and it was a part of the Dead Sea Scroll, as well as part of the apocryphal texts and even in ancient Sumerian tablets. One might think, why is it significant that the Book of Enoch even correlates to ancient Samaria? But that is because the ancient Sumerian people believed in the Anunnaki and gave them all types of glory and said that they practiced things like gene splicing. For Enoch to pop up in ancient Sumerian text and in other biblical texts is absolutely significant, and we should pay attention. Now, in ancient Samaria, Enoch was known as the first priest, or En-mi-dor and Kai, like Anunnaki. Notice how when they describe Enoch as the priest, it has that last word, An Kai, which is where the Anunnaki came from, who were said to be the sons and daughters of An and Kai. And Enoch was further known as the man from the city Sippar, taken heavenward to be taught the secrets of heaven and earth, of divination and the calendar. This is extremely significant because do you guys know that the Sumerian are the reason we can calculate time down to seconds and minutes? They came up with the metric system, the wheel, irrigation, and they gave all of this, like circumference, like, oh, we learned this because of the Anunnaki and because of Enoch, or the first priest to travel to
Question
heaven.
I have for you is 1/3 of Jesus' ministry consisted of casting out demons. So one burning question I have for you is, where did those demons even come from? Well, the oldest Bible in the world is in Ethiopia, and it actually contains the Book of Enoch, which was excluded from most Bibles. This is quite unfortunate, because this is where you would find the origins of evil spirits. The Book of Enoch explains how once upon a time these towering giants used to roam the earth. These giants are what the Bible calls Nephilim in Genesis 6:4. They were actually the children of fallen angels, making them violent and completely driven by pure desire. The story goes that after a giant would die, their spirit would be bound to earth. There would be no such thing as heaven for a giant. Their evil, disembodied spirits would now wander the earth. You see, these giants today have the new names of lust, anger, and anxiety. They are ultimately what humanity would call demons.
This one truth about the Book of Enoch is going to blow your mind. And you're going to realize how far the deception goes. Check it out. And before you say anything bad about the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jude in our Bible references the Book of Enoch, saying that he prophesied these things. In fact, the Book of Enoch is in the oldest Bible, the Ethiopian Bible, and that Bible contains 88 books. So then the question is, why isn't it in our Bible? The Bible that we have today is the Canonized version. That just means the Catholic Church and popes came together and decided what books went into our Bible. Yeah, that's not a red flag at all. Nevertheless, the oldest Bible contains it, so I'm gonna go with the oldest. Disclaimer, there are a bunch of fake Book of Enochs out there, so if you're going to research this book, make sure you do your due diligence and get the right Book of Enoch. Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man returns. And Enoch accurately describes what happens in the days of Noah. So why is it not in our Bible?
Exist and
Watch
ancient
these Christian
Egypt and the Bible. Did these half-human, half-animal gods actually exist? And did they have any involvement with what was going on during biblical times? To answer this, we're going to start in Genesis 6. Now, Genesis 6 talks briefly about the fallen angels and how they slept with the women on earth who eventually gave birth to giants. These giants were half-human, half-demonic hybrids. They were absolute savages. They ravaged the earth. They had no self-control. They ate humans. They tortured them. They were deplorable beings. So what do these mythological gods have to do with the Bible? Where do we see these half-human, half-animal hybrids? For that, we turn to my favorite, the Book of Enoch. So it says right here, and when men could no longer sustain them, they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. We also see proof of this in the book of Jasher. This is from the Apocrypha, and it says, and those animals from their middle downward were in the shape of the children of men, and from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some had the likeness of kephas. So you'll see from the bottom down they were human, and from the top up they were animal. Now again, just another reason why the enemy doesn't want us reading the Apocrypha, because it actually explains our history. So these demonic spirit giants got bored with men and started to breed with animals, which gave birth to these half-human, half-animal demonic hybrids.
That wraps up another one for the HFC podcast. Thank you again for being here with me as we do this deep dive into Enoch. There's still so much to uncover there and discuss. Thank you again for being here with me as we do this deep dive on the Book of Enoch. If you want me to read from the encyclopedia, let me know. As always, stay safe, stay blessed in these dark, deceptive times. HFC out. Peace.